Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day.
Zaz, I need your help with something. I don't totally trust 100% Jeremy's judgment, and he's been bothering me for about 4 days. I've got a Marlin stat of the day. I got a Marlin stat of the day. And I haven't gone to it because I don't 100% trust that it's going to be a 10, that it's not going to be like a 6 or a 5, that it's going to be a 10. Is that misplaced? Am I doing that incorrectly?
No. I mean, my first reaction is, I mean, what a week. If we're on Thursday and Jeremy's been hounding you all week.
So glad to be back.
What do you have, Jeremy? Here's your big chance, and we'll judge afterward what the stat of the day was, how good it was.
How about this? I've got 2 Marlin stats of the day now.
Well, you've started poorly because it's one stat.
You know what they say?
Day.
Nope.
When you have 2.
The Marlins have 3 of the top 7 hitters in baseball in batting average. Also, they're the only team in the history of baseball to never lose 12 straight games.
That look from Zaslow was shock. And so I would say that you deem that worthy of stat
nailed
of the day.
Not bad.
The second one more than the first, though, right?
The first I did not care about.
Well, the first one was 3 of the top 4 2 days ago, but then I wasn't here and I didn't get to it on the first day. So
the second one, though, you got something there.
Thank you.
I like the first one. I like how the Marlins play. The Marlins are kind of like an old school team. They need a better base running coach to be like a full like old school team, because that was disastrous yesterday. And apparently this is a thing with the Marlins. But station to station baseball, I like it.
Have you watched Chandler Simpson at all with the Tampa Bay Rays? Like everyone else in the sport is going power, lift, and exit velocity, and all he does is hit the ball on the ground. His career.
Still a Rays guy.
He's got 1 minor league home run. It was an inside the park home run, and 1 spring training home run, and that's it. 4-year career, all he does is hit the ball on the ground and run crazy fast, and it's going to be a double if you let him have first.
He's Walt Weiss.
He's an incredibly fast Walt Weiss. He's like Vince Coleman, but Vince Coleman hit home runs. He's faster D. Gordon, but D. Gordon hit home runs.
Nah.
No, D. Gordon in his professional career has home runs plural.
Yeah.
Chandler Simpson does not. He does not have a major league home run. He's got a spring training home run, and he's got a minor league inside the park home run.
Huh.
I can never get you guys interested in the Rays.
Basketball, basketball, basketball.
Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a 3 or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man-to-man or box and 1? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say
Basketball, basketball, basketball.
basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots, a dagger 3 and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say's a gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
He's the only expert NFL draft guest we've had on in years. We got a draft party tonight. Dr. Fred Johnson will be our draft analyst. We don't usually cover the draft. We're going to cover it this year. Please get me a photo of Dave Dameshek and his
Dan, oh my God.
deformity.
Oh my God.
Dave Dameshek, somebody explained to me, because Lucy and Dameshek are in Pittsburgh, because we're really going to cover the draft. We're going to do this tonight. We're going to do a live stream. I don't like the draft. That should be interesting. But Lucy and Dameshek love the draft. And this photo that we have on your screen, apologies to the audio audience, his right arm he's in the Pittsburgh office. He's in the headquarters of Pittsburgh right now. That is if you're not in the Steelers' offices, that is the headquarters of Pittsburgh. Looks very much like a coach's office. That left arm goes down to his knee. Nobody understands why it is that this deformity is happening. He could not look more uncomfortable.
Why is his arm so heavy?
It's weird, right?
It's weird.
It's a prosthetic.
I think this is just him not wanting to go arm around Coach Pat, and he's just like, that might be awkward. He thought it would be awkward to go arm around the coach, so he's like, I'll just let this thing dangle.
Are you sure he doesn't want to put his right arm either around? Like, he seems to be hiding.
Clearly his left arm.
No, but he's hiding his right arm. Like, it looks like he has only one arm. It looks like he's the guy who would make an argument on behalf of the one-legged punter.
No, this is a classic. I'm a little nervous about the midsection and the way it's going to stick out if I put both arms behind people and that shirt bunches up. I've been here before. This is just insecurity.
That's
don't want to
interesting
put
because
that
it is
arm
a
around.
button-down shirt. So
That's
what
exactly
you're
right.
saying could happen.
We will get answers tonight.
I think it could be just trying to feel young. He's doing content this weekend with a lot of young people, with Lucy, with Rose. Like, this is like, I got to feel young here.
Yeah, this is a classic Ricky Bobby situation where he didn't know what exactly to do with these guys.
They're in Pittsburgh. Meadowlark is covering the draft tonight. You should be a part of our live stream tonight because we intend to have a lot of fun around all of the ridiculousness. Mike Ryan is now a human being who regularly attends Marlins matinees. They're undefeated when he goes. He tried yesterday, Zaz, I'm not going to call it a sandwich. It's a quesadilla, sort of burrito-ish, El Machete. It is how much? How much does that cost, Mike?
Only $26.
Oh my God!
It's not. It's
You could feed a family, honestly, with that thing.
For $26, this is actually in the bargain bin in terms of baseball food because you could legit feed a family with this thing.
And so what, is it a quesadilla?
It's a quesadilla kind of taco thing, yeah. Okay. Yeah, but with ropa vieja.
What?
Oh, Trista doesn't know what ropa vieja is.
Yeah, what was it?
It's like a shredded meat.
Shredded beef.
Oh, so it's like birria, but without the consomme.
Kind of like a burrito, yeah.
My father's favorite food is ropa vieja, and I regret that Tony is not here today to help us with the ingredients and the sauces because I don't think it's a cheaper meat, and it's something that is super tasty.
Yeah, post-communism came in cans.
Right. I'm not going to say it's spam adjacent, but I believe it's like viewed as the cheaper of the meats. But when people in Cuba, had trouble getting meat, this was an affordable kind of meat. I think I have that right.
It's not close to spam. It's actual beef, but the communist version, there's actually like this banger Cuban restaurant in Louisville because Kentucky has a huge Cuban population. I think it's like the second biggest one in the United States outside of South Florida. And their post-communism Cuban restaurant, the ropa vieja, comes in a can.
I did not mean that it is like spam in terms of contents. I meant in sort of reputation. You think of
in
spam,
terms of coming in a can.
You think of cheap meat. Yes. Generally speaking, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the meat always cheap when it comes in a can?
So, okay, when I get a machete in Portland, it's the same shredded beef that comes in the burrito tacos, only it's a larger tortilla and it's flattened and sort of crispy and the cheese is melted. Is this different?
This is different in that don't expect melted cheese.
Well, what she said, though, sounds like the same. It sounds like they're serving the same Latin thing, the allegedly same Latin thing in Portland that they are in Miami. But what are they calling it in Portland? Because that sounds like the same thing, Mike. It doesn't sound like it's any different.
Machete, but the beef is just the same quality beef as the birria.
There's a little salsa verde on it. And like I said, unmelted cheese.
Need the melted cheese.
You do, but they get it out of this big, like, when Vince Wilfork was dancing around the ribs? Like that kind of meat locker. But the meat locker is set to maybe 84 degrees. And they bring it out. I went there early because I wanted to make sure they didn't run out. And I had like 4 friends with me, and we couldn't even finish it. It was huge and not bad for something without melted cheese.
I really don't like what it is that just happened in the middle of that because I don't think you noticed it. But I actively have an executive producer who's secretly taunting me during the show. And while there's a glass here that is soundproof, I could see and read his lips so that while you were talking, and as soon as you said Vince Wilfork, I heard my inner monologue, which then made an appearance on Chris Cody's lips as I'm looking straight ahead, and he's like, I have a new wife now. And that's not helping me. That's not aiding me to do this show. You are very comfortable talking about how you met your wife, how much you love her, how important she is to you, and that's the reason that I asked the question. I've always admired that about you, that you have no problems whatsoever professing your love.
Well, the thing is, I got a new wife now. You know, me and Bianca didn't make it.
What?
That was our interview with Vince Wilfork.
The me and my wife didn't make it. I remember it as a plane crash. That's how you would describe it if you were in the afterlife wandering around and you were just talking to other dead people, and that's how you'd perished in a plane crash.
So on the scale of 1 to Dr. Fred Johnson, where are we at on that interview?
Well, I was just going to ask you guys the same question because that was a Suey Award winner. It's one of the most awkward sounds in the history of our show. It might go on the Mount Rushmore of awkward. It's why Chris did it to me. And again, not helpful. I've got a long day today. It's the draft. I don't really care about the draft generally. I've never cared about the draft. Decided to have a draft expert on yesterday. You saw how that went. Where does that rank in terms of awkward? We can't put that in the Wilfork class, can we? We can't put what happened yesterday in the Wilfork class, can we?
I think it's a cut above. I have a new wife now is just a vulnerable admission.
Well,
I have a new wife now. Makes me happy. What a fun mistake that was.
I think the funniest part is me and Bianca didn't make it. Like, he put Bianca on it. That's what's hilarious.
We didn't make it, though. Like, that's not divorce. That's not separation. That's people dying at the end of a horrible, tragic thing. We didn't make it is unbelievable phrasing there. The Dolphins, this is a day of great hope for the Dolphins. But I'd like to talk about the University of Miami because if you are on Kalshi, you should, if there was prediction market stuff that you could do.
Which you shouldn't be.
No, you should not be.
Yeah. Let's use another name for it.
Okay.
Prediction market.
If you were doing something that was trying to...
TK Predictions available now.
This one's not available because...
That's right, because we have a partner with integrity.
That's right, with licensing, with rules and regulations, so that you can believe in everything. But if you could take a bet tonight on Mike Ryan and whether or not he has emotional investment in the Hurricanes needing to have 2 top 10 picks, that Mike Ryan is going to be crushed, not like he was when they lost against Indiana, but is going to be crushed if they don't have 2 top 10 picks tonight, would you bet that the Hurricanes are going to have 2 top 10 picks tonight?
Yeah, I think they will. I think Bain and Mauigoa will both go top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, Mauigoa's had the back thing, which has him sliding according to some mocks, and we all know the Ollie Conley story, that the perception is that Bain might fall over there, but I still think Miami gets 2, and I
think they will.
That.
Yeah.
It's good for the narrative.
Didn't your father, Greg Cody, who will be with us tonight, have Malinois to the Dolphins?
Yes, he does.
A lot of people do.
Mauigoa.
Sorry.
For everybody. Well, there's a G in it. We ran into this with Tua.
What is it that your father has him at 11, right? Your father has the Dolphins. So what do you want to happen tonight? Does anyone here have some rooting interests in this?
Dolphins related? I don't really have a rooting interest Dolphins related because I don't know how these guys do business. Like, I don't know how, like, we're going to get a sense of what this front office is about tonight, but we really don't know. It also kind of feels like that with the entire draft. Like, we know that Mendoza's going 1, and then after that, even with someone as high profile as Jeremiah Love, we really don't know what's happening after number 1, which actually makes this draft tonight potentially fun.
Locally, it makes sense because there's a nice little chunk in that Venn diagram of Hurricanes, Dolphins fans. A lot of people are hoping.
Like there should be 3 Hurricanes in the first round.
Yes, right? Yes, with an outside shot at 4. A lot of Dolphin fans are hoping Ruben Bain falls.
Yeah,
that seems to be the consensus.
That'll be interesting though. Like if Ruben Bain were to fall, which I don't think he will, but if Ruben Bain falls to number 11, like, is the Dolphin fan going to be mad when they don't select him?
An interesting storyline, too, that I saw yesterday on DK Sportsbook was that the team most favored to select Carson Beck was actually the Miami Dolphins at plus 300.
Really?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Well, I was looking at the odds market, and it looks like Mauanoa's over 8.5 is actually minus money. So some of the mock drafts actually have Ruben Bain going before him.
Chatter that I was hearing around the spring game was Bain to the Saints, Mauanoa to the Chiefs. I know Nick Wright is hoping that the Saints pass up Ruben Bain so he can get it, and I don't think Nick Wright's going to be super happy with an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I think where Jordan Love ultimately goes is going to basically determine the rest of the draft. You dig? So
yeah, Jeremiah Love is, and he's being tossed around as a smokescreen at number 3. Number 3 is an interesting pick. Ty Simpson is favored to go to Arizona, but not at number 3. Everyone's assuming Ty Simpson may fall out of the first round or that Arizona may secure a deal that gets them another pick at the back end of the first round to go draft Ty Simpson.
Let's entertain what it is that Zaslow is saying there. If Ruben Bain falls to the Miami Dolphins, they can't not select him.
I will want them to select Ruben Bain so bad if he's available at number 11. It'll be really disappointing if they don't.
But what you just said, you're going to go look. 25 years, okay? The Dolphins, it can be argued, are as bad as anybody in football. No playoff wins. Over those 25 years, they've spent a lot of time telling me and selecting offensive linemen and rarely being able to block anybody. If tonight you're taking an offensive lineman because that's the need you have, and Ruben Bain's there, and that's not the need you have, another offensive lineman after 25 years, I don't think you can do it. Like, I really don't think you can introduce yourself to the Miami market. When we had Jeff Hafley on the last South Beach session, any Dolphin fan who's been here for 25 years might get a little spooked at the idea that if he had one coach to call for advice anywhere in the universe in any kind of crisis, the call's to Dave Wanstedt.
Yeah, read the room a little bit, Coach.
You cannot have such a lack of history in this market that's how you introduce yourself, that you're going to take an offensive lineman no matter what, when for 25 years they've been taking offensive linemen and they can't block anybody. Like, what you just set out for the possibility of happening tonight, I don't believe we will be given that gift from heaven where the Dolphins – like, that'll be as unpopular as we drafted the Ginn family, and it'll go on the Mount Rushmore of unpopular things to ever happen on draft day if Ruben Bain falls to the Miami Dolphins and they don't get Ruben Bain.
Like, do they factor that in at all? Like, do they say to themselves, all right, there's something that happened with Ruben Bain, that just became public. Maybe he winds up dropping a couple spots. If he is available to us at number 11, do we take him? Like, that gets in the good graces of everybody, of our entire fan base, and he's a really good player. It'd be great value because he's expected to go before number 11. Like, we kind of have to take him, very similar to where when the Dolphins selected Laramie Tunsil, no one was talking about the Dolphins being able to select probably the best left tackle in the draft, but because he dropped, it's like, we got to do it, and they did.
I want to just examine for a moment what I'm asking you guys about draft day, hope, and the drafting of offensive linemen. This franchise has done a lot of that, Zaz, and they can never block anybody. Like, this is a day of great hope for fan bases, but the great hope generally revolves around skill players, players I've heard of, players who I feel like I can measure myself how good they are instead of having to read draft reports telling me how good they are. I see it on the field for myself.
A playmaker.
Well, but I mean, you want to go through the list? They've drafted a lot of offensive linemen. And it's probably where they'll go tonight as well. That's how you introduce yourself. The new people in charge. That's how you introduce yourself to Miami.
I understand it's not sexy. Look, I've been there. When I was a Browns fan, they were always picking top 5. The year that Brady Quinn actually got passed up on initially by the Browns and then later the Dolphins, I was pissed. You know who the Browns picked over Brady Quinn? Joe Thomas. I was furious. Who's this stiff from Wisconsin on a fishing boat? I want Brady Quinn. I saw Brady Quinn. I actually left that draft from Ale House, went to my graduation, couldn't have my phone on me because George W. Bush was speaking at MDC. And then I later found out that the Browns still got Brady Quinn, and then I knew the franchise was saved.
We love him.
I mean, do they have to pick an offensive? Like, the Dolphins have 3 offensive linemen that are pretty good. Do they have to take an offensive lineman in the first
Chris,
round?
what happened? You're so busy there looking for Will Fork sound to embarrass me that you just fired off a who make of the salad for no reason?
Who made it a salad?
Why'd you do that?
I have
Any
a fun button
particular
board
reason?
here.
Okay, very good. Excellent work. Tonight at 7:30, we go live draft coverage. You can expect some of that as Chris Cody steers our plane into we're not going to make it. We didn't make it.
And we actually have expertise on this. Brooks Austin, a film guy, a guy that knows these prospects inside and out, will be there whenever we actually need to get serious.
And you guys burying the lead tonight. Tonight is the battle for Zagactos. Greg Cody versus Mel Kiper Jr. No sense, no mercy.
Okay, that'll be big tonight as we will have Greg Cody here. It's a very serious night for him, and he will be working, and he's already told me he wants to be left alone, which doesn't really work for what it is that we're doing tonight. We kind of need his help.
How do you factor in the time management that it takes to make a list like he does with the catchphrases and also go so in-depth on these mock drafts?
He works very hard. I keep asking him, when are you going to retire? Like, are you thinking about that? And he's the Miami Herald will go down before he does. He just wants to keep consulting an imaginary bird to help him with his selection.
Oh, yeah. What about the parrot again? What was that? I just
that's a
kept
different
going
thing,
back.
though. The parrot that he goes, very good, out of the side of his mouth with has nothing to do with the upset bird, which he consults and has consulted for 30 years on his picks every week. 2 different birds. Get your shit together, Trista.
I've mentioned before that the upset bird, Sunday morning, Miami Herald, the upset bird when I was a kid was my absolute favorite.
Wasn't it Friday? I would always look forward to
maybe it was
that.
Friday.
Friday.
Right.
You would see his dog of the week, his
my
game of the week.
absolute favorite thing.
Same.
I loved it so much.
you know
And I
what?
would flip the paper over, and here's this athlete apologist.
He just gave me a treasure. Help me do this tonight, okay? Help me give away. Greg Cody just gave me a treasure fished out of his garage. I believe it's my brother's original work, was the upset bird bumper sticker that he did for Greg Cody. And he gave me like 40 of them the other day. We should give some of those away tonight. Not too many of them, but like just some of them as part of what it is that we're doing, because the upset bird is it's a local icon.
It would talk as a bird in print.
Yep, it would give its opinion on the upset of the week. The upset bird would tell you why.
Wouldn't it start with like a written
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it wouldn't even be like, it would really force the ox.
No.
It would force the ox. It would be like Jeff Hawkstetler.
Yep.
There would be awks at the beginning and at the end to signify that it was a bird, but it was a bird that talked, and he consulted it on his picks. That is correct, Trista.
Ricky Watt.
Yes.
Stay off the weed.
I believe he really enjoyed spelling the name Carl Mecklenburg.
There you go.
Would have been better. No, you guys think it was always an awk. There were different.
No, it was crudely forced in.
It was just,
which made it funny.
It was W's and K's.
Yep.
That's correct. Something else that's funny. I wanted to ask you guys this. Carson Beck, when he identifies publicly with a school, which school is it? Like, if
I have a pretty good idea of what he will identify with. I think the interesting question is what other people do. He didn't have the greatest breakup with Georgia, and he went to the national championship game. Granted, he did win national championships as a backup with Georgia, but he played in the national championship game with Miami. So I think if he ever has a Sunday Night Football treatment, Dan, he'd probably introduce himself as a Miami Hurricane.
Well, that's what, and so Dylan Gabriel, what does he introduce himself as?
That's tough. So if you check the Browns website, he's listed under Oregon. I do think that this is player preference. Now, usually they just end up going with the school that they most recently played with because that's the one that they had their best memories with. But that Dylan Gabriel's a spicy one. Trissa, you're an Oregon Ducks fan. Do you consider him an Oregon Duck?
I do, but I don't claim him. So that's what I wanted to know when we were chatting about this is like, do you claim Carson Beck? Like, is he one of the great Hurricanes? Biggest game in 20 years. Like, he gave you that over and over and over again. So is he a Cane?
It's weird. I don't claim him as much as I claim Cam Ward because
he played for Georgia for 5 seasons.
He won SEC championships with Georgia. When I think of him, I still think of him in that red Georgia jersey. But also Carson Beck with his legs. That's his most iconic moment.
Why do you claim? Is it because he went number 1 overall? Is that why you claim Ward before Beck?
Also, I mean, I was a big college football head. I was well familiar with Cam Ward, but I think most people were introduced because he played out on the West Coast with Wazoo. That you couldn't really find their games all that much. Like, I think most people were introduced to Cam Ward playing football as a Miami Hurricane. And yeah, he went number 1.
I claim Cam Ward and Jaden Daniels for the Pac-12.
Am I a fool in being ignorant about not knowing the history of how Washington State becomes Wazoo? Am I the one who doesn't? I'm asking you guys because
Yes.
he said that rather casually, and I now I've heard it referred to as Wazoo. I just don't know why it would be.
I think it's WSU, Washington State University.
So they're spelling it the way Greg Cody's bird talks.
A little bit.
Okay.
What do we consider Jalen Hurts? Is he a Sooner or is he a Crimson Tide?
That one's difficult because his last act for Alabama was getting benched in the national championship game, and he kind of rebuilt himself at Oklahoma. What does the Eagles website say?
The uniforms are the same color though, so I just picture just like the same exact thing no matter what, right?
Also,
Burgundy?
do we go by the website or do we go by what they say on Sunday Night Football when they introduce themselves?
Great question, because like I click on Jalen Hurts' profile on ESPN.com, college, Oklahoma.
That's interesting.
It's always going to be wherever their last stop was.
Ooh,
That's what is going to happen on a website.
Okay.
It might not be where they introduce themselves from. Like
What-
Dylan Gabriel, UCF. now.
Yeah, and that's harder to answer without them here. I know what Russell Wilson used to do, which
That's
I
what I'm
like.
looking up right now, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson on ESPN, college, Wisconsin.
That's
The
not
last place he was.
That's not well. When he introduces himself on Sunday Night Football, it's Wisconsin Wolfpack or something corny like that.
Well, and with Dante Moore, because of how things went in Dante Moore's college career where he wasn't getting burned, and then now he's, a top 5 pick and stays at Oregon, I think he's solidified himself as an Oregon Duck.
Also, Deion Dawkins, he went to You Already Know University on Sunday Night Live, so I'm not sure what we do with that.
So you guys are doing 2 different things, and I'm doing 2 different things. How does a player introduce himself? Because there's a Key and Peele sketch in here somewhere of the next player who's going to have 7 schools that he introduces himself with. But where Carson Beck identifies or how he identifies as a player and where other people look at him and say, I consider him this, those being 2 different things is interesting, right? Because I don't know, the audience at large, I would think, associates Carson Beck with, I've watched him for 5 years in important games, or, he didn't play in some of them, but still, he played in a lot of big games in a Georgia uniform, more I dare say, than he did in a Miami uniform, so it's 1 year. Does Miami get to claim him as our guy if he spent 5 years somewhere else and he had 1 year here?
What if he becomes a Dolphin? I think then you can automatically claim him as a Cane.
Can you? What does that have to do with anything?
It does help. It does
Regional.
help. Yeah.
So
And
he's just
he'd be
stayed
smart.
in the market playing football, and therefore I'm going to grandfather him in?
Not a Falcon.
The way that things change, do you remember, Zaz, the report, how quickly things change around here and how they stay the same? So Jeff Hafley says that the one call that he makes in a crisis is to Dave Wanstedt. Dave Wanstedt, We called him Wanstache. We made fun of the beginning of the end that started with Wanstache. We had chicken fingers at a restaurant, Wani McStashes that were mustache, fried mustaches. Vanilla offense with no nuts was the dessert.
Puntatizers.
That's why we can't book them.
Yeah, Wanstache was something that we made some fun of, but I don't think that anyone here remembers that when Wanstache was in good graces with the Miami Dolphins, it was reported that the University of Miami offered him a 20-year contract. Do you guys remember this?
No.
I do.
It was crazy.
That was when I was
The
in high school.
University of Miami was thinking about trying to steal Dave Wanstache from the Miami Dolphins.
So we're talking like around 2000.
When things were better, for when it was all 11 and 5s and 10 and 6s, before it got to that last 4 and 12 or whatever happened at the end there. And that was the beginning of the end of Dan Marino, Jimmy Johnson, the relevant, winning franchise, important. Now it becomes a regional franchise.
So
for
it's a
25
takeover
years.
after Coker.
But it's not just a takeover, though. It was stealing the head coach of the Dolphins to signal that the University of Miami intended to be good for 20 years by signing Dave Wanstache. You got to look up for me, please, what that amount of money associated with that contract was, because I have it right. It was a real thing.
Yeah, it was a real thing. I remember.
And he ended up going to Pitt.
He did. He ended up going to the college game after he parted ways with the Dolphins. Did I ever tell you about the most recent conversation I had with Dave Wanstedt? It was this decade. And our show made a lot of fun of Dave Wanstedt. As Dan mentioned, we did Wani McStashes. But when I was doing the musical, I wanted him initially to be a part of the musical. And then afterwards, I wanted him to promote the musical. And so I had an agent.
How would he promote it?
I was like, can I film a video? It'd be great. We have this #1 musical that we did. It's a love letter to football. And I had to explain to him that the Dan Le Batard Show, which openly beefed with him, would like, and use him as a punchline, would like to use him because that would be really funny for our legacy fans as well if you did a testimonials to how great this musical about the Super Bowl was. And he was on a golf course, and he was very nice. And I do think he kind of forgave us for what we did.
He's a nice guy.
He is. And it's like, I'm sorry, we leaned a little too hard on the mustache, but it was all in good fun.
You apologized to him during
a little
this
bit.
call?
Yeah, I had to feel it out.
And part of your apology was we leaned too hard on the mustache.
He's trying to get something done.
Right. Well,
did we not?
The rumor was that the mustache was there for a reason. That was a rumor. Because, I mean, he was doing the mustache well after it had fallen out of favor.
The tickler.
Anyways, he passed.
On our show. He's still with us.
Yeah. In football, he ran, famously. Very rarely
He
passed.
punted.
Punt, run. LaShawn
make it.
McCoy, 45 carries.
So how are you using past? Because didn't make it, like, you both
It was. I probably could have done that conversation a little bit better.
No. I disagree. Well, this particular conversation you couldn't have done better because there aren't as many words in the English language, or any, as funny as past being in the middle of that sentence, given everything that we've discussed. That includes the fiery death of Vince Wilfork's marriage. Dave Wanstedt, I want you to just consider that for a moment as they look up the numbers on what that contract is. And Kalen DeBoer just signed in Alabama. And when he signed, and I read this, that I'm reading 7 years, $87 million, I'm like, why?
It's a great question. You have the take.
But wasn't
The
that
hard-hitting
but
question.
wasn't that everybody's reaction on, well, that's about as bad an Alabama team as I have seen in
They
a
won
while.
a playoff game this year.
That's about as bad an Alabama team as I have seen in a while. And I thought they didn't have much faith in DeBoer, except that every once in a while he convinces Georgia, and that's where we are with or he beats Georgia. That's where we are with the Alabama program, that you've gone from you need to beat everybody to all you got to do is beat Georgia.
Well, wouldn't we be using common, not you just need to beat Georgia, but aren't we using common sense then where, yeah, that's not how this game is anymore. You're not going to beat everyone every year. That game is long gone.
Hey, you get an extension when someone else is interested in your services.
That's the weird part.
When your agent effectively curates a marketplace for you, and there was a lot of that talk To some of us, inexplicably so, because we were doing the direct comparison Nick Saban's Alabama to Kalen DeBoer's Alabama.
But this is the end of April.
Right. It's weird.
It's weird.
The timing, like, you can understand, like, they would announce the extension and then the other schools interested in his services would find their other candidates. So this took some dialogue, but he got an extension because of other schools being interested in him.
Why?
You're asking the right questions, dude.
It is weird, right?
Like, the initial deal he must have signed with Alabama had to have been at least 5 years, which would tell you he has at least 3 more years.
He ended up losing to Indiana. He did go on the road to beat Oklahoma in a college football playoff game, and we're not too far removed from him taking Washington to the national championship game.
I'm just simply saying, college football fans, serious or casual, has Kalen DeBoer done a good job, yes or no? I don't believe anyone's answering that question. Yes, vigorously. Yes, for sure. That's who gets 7-year extensions. Like that, you don't give 7-year extensions to maybe. You don't give 7-year extensions to you've shown me a little bit. If I say to everybody who watches college football, the job Kalen DeBoer has done so far. Now, that might not be fair because what we expect from that uniform is it's not a regional team. It's a national team. What would they be on the open market? Alabama football. What's Alabama football worth? If I make this the big business, all of this that it is, right? This is the top of the mountain in college football, which is the highest of the minor league professional sports. It's the second biggest sport in this country. If I put the Alabama football team on the market to all the billionaires and said, you want a toy, you want something that feels like a professional football team, you want to play over here, you don't have the $5 or $6 billion to get into the NFL club because they won't welcome you in. Do you have $5 or $6 billion for a college team? What's Alabama worth?
$7
billion? $7 billion. Alabama football is worth twice as much as the Padres. Is worth almost twice as much as the Broncos.
I think if you were to put it in an open market, the state of Alabama may pay $10 billion for it because it's literally their economy.
So as we see what is an overt and obvious capitalism and commercialization, this is giant sport now, right? WNBA is a business that has a streaming product. Everybody wants to get into the television business with its programming. NFL is reworking all of its deals. Alabama is its own genre. It's the shark movie. It's the only thing. You can come close with Ohio State, I suppose, but what Saban built there, the professionalization of it, makes it in reputation in a place that has no business having this, by the way. Like just a city that has no business. Has the tradition for it, but it doesn't really make sense that all of the players would go to that city, except for that this is what it's been, the birthplace of college football for 50 years.
Yeah.
And the real Notre Dame. But
paying the players too.
But the real Notre Dame, right? Like Notre Dame did it one way, and then over time, the Alabama program has such a prestige because who are the 3 college coaches for all time? The 3 college coaches for all time, 2 of them are there. It's Bear Bryant and Nick Saban, and you take all the rest of college football, and 2 of them are there. And so that program is worth more than the worst of the NFL teams, is it not? If I just said to you, somehow we are going to combine Ryan Day's thoughts that college football should also have a draft, and NFL is going to actually make this its professional minor league because we're going to merge the biggest powers in sports, pro football and college football. In that setting, when everyone's throwing around television dollars, what's that program worth? Why are you giving this man this money to run that program when that's the worth at this time?
It's tough, too, because you have, guaranteed labor costs are going to be way lower than in the NFL. And also, it's a publicly funded university. And I don't know exactly how that works with a private enterprise. It probably goes away. Be curious to see where all of this goes.
I'll just read to you the recent history. Missed the playoffs in 2024, lost to Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl at full strength, upset by both unranked Vanderbilt and Oklahoma in 2024. Upset by 2-10 Florida State last year.
2-10.
And you said he won a playoff game and lost 38-3 in the last one that he played, and it has to be shocking. Bear Bryant is rolling around in his grave at the idea of, wait a minute, Indiana's that much better than us? How? In what world?
He ain't the only one.
How in what world is Indiana football this much better than Alabama football? You just gave that guy an extension.
Yeah, well, tune into the draft tonight and see who goes number 1.
A guy who Indiana can claim, by the way, even though it was just 1 year.
Also, the internet had, Dan, I don't think this is Mandela effect, right? But, like, there's no internet proof that Miami actually offered Dave Wanstedt a 20-year contract. I have canvassed the internet.
telling whoppers?
I have no. I remember this. This was a thing, but I don't know if it showed up in like a Barry Jackson opinion thing.
No, it was a Miami Herald. It was absolutely a Miami Herald. I remember the headline. It was that shocking.
Yes, I remember picking up the newspaper and pointing to it.
Jeremy, I am worried about the ability to get anything from newspapers that existed in 1990 in the modern age.
I'm worried about getting anything from newspapers now.
Tell me about it.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
So we're having fun. It's a big day. It's a busy day. And there's a lot going on because this thing that we're doing, Draft Special tonight, a race for Super Zagactos, is going to be the best draft coverage you will find anywhere if you don't care about the draft in ways that are too serious. Because we will have good information for you. It will be in there. People more informed than us. I'm not going to speak for Trista and Mike, but more, or Zaz on this matter, because I think you three really know college football. And so you will be excited tonight and you will help us fill this out. But I cannot tell you about, the offensive guard at Georgia, and I'm not going to pretend like I can. David Samson is pissed off, though. We're about to have fun all day today, and David Samson's mad because we can't get his audio right, or he can't get his audio right, and he's blaming us because he's always on time and he's ready and he's particular and he can be a perfectionist. And so what is happening right now with his audio? Because I want to talk to him about this Vrabel story.
We can hear him. He can't hear us, so we keep doing the thing of like, maybe come out, come back in. Are you got the right headphones selected? And he thinks it's on our end, and we're pretty convinced it's on his.
That's always the go-to, right? If it's not working, hey, why don't you come out and come back in?
And then check your headphones, make sure the right headphones.
All right, so just keep him up there, and he'll get in on the conversation when he can. I wanted to start in the place because we were talking during the break about just iconic Marlins home runs, and I know that we're out of the local hour now, and I do want to, and we'll get to this Vrabel story, but I did want to finish the conversation that we were having because I'm sitting here celebrating Chandler Simpson of my beloved Rays and the way that he just hits the ball on the ground and runs all over the place as the entire sport has gone to exit velocity and lift. And we started talking about Marlins home runs and people least likely to hit a Marlins home run. And somebody here nominated D. Gordon for the most iconic home run in Marlins history. That's a thing that happened. That's a thing that'll make David Samson, that robot, emotional because he suffered, hurt with the death of Jose Fernandez for ways that extended beyond baseball. The D. Gordon home run, was it the first pitch after he died? A non-home run hitter? It was the first at bat, though.
Yeah, the first at bat, the first pitch, D. Gordon stood up there righty to honor Jose Fernandez and was taking the pitch no matter what because he's a lefty. And then he came around and on the left side, he jacked it to the upper deck.
Yeah, a guy who never hits home runs after their beloved teammate had just died, the ace of the staff, just as shocking a death as a sports team will ever see for an individual. The next guy up's not a home run hitter. Who nominated that, though? Because that was a home run that what you're talking about there is all emotion, no stakes. No stakes on that home run.
The entire dugout was hysterical crying as he rounded the bases. It was really something, man.
But so that's the most emotional home run. Does that then make it the most iconic home run?
No, not at all.
Well, we have a list, and it should settle the debate. And with the former Marlins team president here, really interested in his feedback to this list. The greatest home runs in Miami Marlins franchise history. OLI. Andres Galarraga goes upper deck.
Farthest home run in Pro Player Stadium history.
Got you on your heels.
Yes, that's an opponent. He did not play for the Marlins. By the way, just 2 nights ago, I saw Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run over the Fenway wall. I've never seen a human being hit the ball as far as he did. It just went. I'm saying I know this is routine now, and I know Ohtani hits the ball out of stadiums, but what he did hitting a ball out of Fenway Park, I've never seen someone hit a ball like that.
When it went out of view, it was still ascending.
Yeah, was it still on the way up when it went over the wall?
It didn't land on the street behind the stadium. It landed like several blocks away.
That's awesome.
Also, OLI, Stanton sets a franchise record. Also, OLI, Jose Fernandez starts a bench-clearing brawl with a home run.
Yep. He spit on third base.
Brian
McCann.
I spit on third base.
And final OLI, Ken Griffey Jr.'s 600th home run.
That's a good baseball horror movie sort of franchise. I spit on third base. That's what Jose Fernandez did.
Number 5, Jeremy Hermita's first at bat.
Yeah. Oh, grand slam.
That can't be number 5. It can't.
Yes,
be.
it can.
We were
No,
so
that
excited.
can't
He
be.
was the prospect.
I was
That
there for
can't
that.
be. That cannot be.
I waited through a rain delay for that.
That cannot be in your top 5. You don't have a legitimate franchise. You're no.
Number 4. Paul LaDuca hits a home run
Yes.
in the middle of a game that he just joined in progress after being acquired. A pinch hit home run in his first AB as a Marlin.
Yes. He got off the plane, Dan. The game already started. He came
Goosebumps.
right to the clubhouse, and he hit a home run.
I sat next to Paul LaDuca at Barstool for 2 years. I didn't know he even played for the Marlins.
Really? You thought he was just a horse racing expert?
Well, I knew he played baseball. I just didn't really care where. I didn't look into it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just seeing right here. I miss an OLI. Stanton breaks a video board. So, number 3, Miguel Cabrera goes yard.
Good placement. Good
off
placement.
Roger Clemens.
Yep.
That's got to be number 1.
No, it's not.
No, Cabrera opposite field as a rookie?
Nope, it's not number 1.
Number 2, Alex Gonzalez walk
No,
off
that's number 1.
in the World Series. No,
I was responsible for that.
They don't
Right
win
off
the
top.
World
Yeah.
Series if he doesn't hit that home run.
But
True, Chris was responsible.
Potentially, they win the World Series if he doesn't hit that home run. Potentially.
They were
won
down
in
2
6.
games to 1.
I was a big one, yes, which is why it's number 2. I can't believe you're getting I'm getting arguments here. I'm acknowledging it's one of the biggest home runs in franchise history. And
On a list that had Jeremy Hermida on it.
I mean, it was a walk-off.
Oh,
It was
relax.
a grand slam in his first at bat. You never see those. All right, and number 1, it is the D. Gordon one. You got to be on Instagram for this, but that thing comes up all the time on IG. The emotion attached to it, it was just a beautiful moment. And possibly served up by Bartolo Colon.
2 OLIs we forgot. Emilio Bonifacio's opening day inside the Parker and Aesop Choi's opening day home run in 2005.
Good one.
I'm not giving that one the noise.
Dave, how is
300
that
days.
list? David, the name of the podcast is Nothing Personal. We will get to this Vrabel story in a second. Tell me what you have here on the list that they just put together.
I don't like the Stanton video board one because that was costly.
How much did it
But
cost
was-
you? How much
was
did it cost
fun.
you?
5 figures, more than the Vrabel Rossini photographs. The Alex Gonzalez walk-off, Zaz, I have no idea how people don't understand this. Without that home run, we cannot win the World
Of
Series.
course. That's why it's
Period.
obviously
Like,
number
it's-
1.
Because of me.
You can't win the World Series without Josh Beckett.
If I don't go back to my seat there, they don't get that home run.
But here's the thing. This is why your guys are underestimating what Cabrera did going opposite field off Clemens. Standing ovation Clemens in the opposing ballpark. Standing ovation Clemens.
That's the coolest home run.
Well,
Different
he
list.
fooled us,
But
though.
no,
He
but-
fooled us,
No,
Clemens.
but the thing about that home run is I remember the pitches before it because he was throwing under his chin. I don't remember the pitches before Alex Gonzalez's home run.
Most badass home run, it's Miguel Cabrera, and that includes a dude that broke a video board. And his legacy is there's like this little netting in front of the video board now to ensure no one else has to pay $5,000.
Can't believe Dontrell didn't make the list.
One of my worst moments in baseball was going to Jeremy Hermida after in his first game. Mike, you had the memory right in that it was a grand slam, pinch hit, first at bat. It was unheard of. And we were in the clubhouse at Pro Player right after the game. And I said to him, the rest of your career is downhill from here. And he and I still talk about it because it turns out he didn't end up having a good career. And it was way downhill, and he never became what we thought he would become. He's an amazing man, an amazing father and husband, and just a great guy.
He probably
But the
doesn't
fact
smile
is-
at the memory like you do. Of like
Oh,
how
no,
his
he
career
does.
did not pan out the way.
Oh, listen, he's come to terms with it. There's a ton of talented players who don't get careers in sports, who have talent beyond belief. Jeremy Hermida, we thought was Ken Griffey. That's the swing. We were all in on Hermida. He hits the grand slam. We think everything's great. GM, manager, everyone's jumping for joy, and I'm saying, hey, kid, that's as good as it's going to get.
David, was he the top prospect you ever had?
No, but he was certainly, I would say Yelich was a better prospect in terms of what we thought and what we were told he would become, and he's become it. Stanton we knew would be a behemoth. So Hermida, though, we expected for sure. There's some guys you draft in the first round, like we drafted that catcher who stinks, and I forgot his name right now. A first-round pick, top 10 pick. He never made it. God. Anyway, just another wasted draft pick. And we sort of thought when we took him, like, ooh, that one may not work out very well. And it didn't.
When it comes to opponent home runs, does Galarraga rank higher for you than Bonds, McGuire, some of those home runs from an opponent?
No. Galarraga does not rank higher than
Well, wasn't Galarraga before,
Barry
David?
Bonds. We gave strict instructions that we should not pitch to Barry Bonds when we faced him.
That's what
and it was
I
very
remember.
clear.
What I remember,
And then he hit a home run.
Yeah, I remember Bonds hitting a home run when the instruction from everyone in the organization was, do not give him anything to hit. Nothing. He is to walk every time.
If I had known now what I know now, we would have just put up the 4 every time. It really would have made sense. Bases loaded doesn't matter. When he was at the height of hitting and steroids and everything like that, it just made no sense to ever pitch to him, ever. And yet we had the instruction, do not pitch to him. And I believe, Dan, and there's so many games to look back, I think it was extra innings. When he hit that
I
home
think
run
it was
on
a
Pro
broken
Player.
bat, too. I think the bat broke.
Yeah, wasn't there a broken bat home run from Bonds to right field? I vividly remember sitting down the first base line and seeing Barry Bonds hit a broken bat.
Are we
home
just
run.
now telling old stories? Are we now just telling?
Sorry.
But-
Sorry. How are you, Trista? Hey,
Well,
Juju. How we doing?
Well, David, I DM'd you back, and I've been left on red, and so I've got a little bit of a bone to pick. Yeah, check the Twitter. Yeah, it's real.
Trista, we have a major issue right now.
Did you
Major.
have you been sending out the DMs that you were hosting a podcast? Did you text me?
Oh, look at
Yes,
that.
I did.
When? When was that? Was that
Trista?
today?
That is Monday at 11:06. Hi, this is David Samson. Have a great week. See you soon.
You have the wrong number.
Do I really?
You have to have the
no.
wrong number.
It says Red Monday.
I don't have
You
red
read
receipt.
it, by
I
the
don't-
way. Who
I
the
don't
hell
have-
has read receipts?
Not me.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes. Delay a show.
Sorry. I deserve it.
Wow.
Watching a broken bat home run from Barry Bonds against the Marlins, and it's not even like, let me check the bat, see if it's broken. This bat is shattered.
It's shattered,
That's
and
a-
the ball went into the first row.
David, let me close the loop for you.
The organization was saying, don't pitch to him.
David, it was the 6th pick in 2008, Kyle Skipworth.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
him.
What a
Kyle
great name for a draft pick you missed on, Skipworth.
Never thought of it that way. We were told he was going to be good. We were always told
that's how that works.
That's how all busts
It's
go.
amazing. Tonight you're going to do it. You're going to have a draft party, and everyone's going to be like, oh, we're getting the best guy ever. I hope he falls to me. It'd be the coolest thing if he does. And then he's going to suck.
Do you
It's
fire
just
a
how it
scout?
goes.
Do you fire a scout right there when he busts?
No, because it's hard to ever pin down. We
Hey.
would keep track of who was scouting which player, because how else to evaluate and give bonuses? But no, you get more than one shot. It's hard to hit it. You want to hit it right. But our guy, Jim Fleming and Stan Meek, were the best in the business. We had more great draft picks than most other teams. So overall, we were happy. But man, Skipworth sucks.
Did he just say you guys didn't give him an AO for you got to hit it hard, you got to hit it right? I want to go to this Vrabel story in a second, but before I do that, I want to bring up something that happened with Juju here earlier in the show. He said something that I have not heard before. I don't know whether he was referring to Ty Simpson or someone else. Oh, no, it was Jalen Hurts. He was saying he's a Crimson Tide. That sounds weird to me. I don't ever call a player a Crimson Tide. Do you? Like, it's not something I had
He's a
even
Heat.
considered.
The Heat is the most difficult one out of all of these.
No, but Heat, Jazz, Mammoth, whatever. I understand that it's not plural, but I've never referred to an Alabama player as a Crimson Tide. Have you? Has anyone here?
Right, I see him put on the elephant suit, so I don't even. Who knows?
Is that just plural and singular, or am I saying something like Juju said that as if it's a common thing? It's not a common thing, correct? You refer to Jalen Hurts. No one refers to him as a Crimson Tide, correct?
Nah, not at all.
Another reason to go Sooner here.
Checkmate.
I should have gone sooner to Vrabel. So David Samson, Nothing Personal is the name of the podcast, and he attacks a bunch of different things that no one else is attacking. And there's a lot here that I do actually want to talk about, even though I'm compromised here emotionally, at least in part, because at the center of one of these terrible scandals that nobody wants, them, their family, their kids, I've got somebody who I care about who, must be feeling pretty terrible right now, and I don't want to make any of this worse, okay? But this went from not being news at all, being gossip at the start, because in my history, paid-for photos are not news, okay? So just
Page 6.
By itself, yeah, Page 6 and the New York Post and New Journalism and everything else, but paid-for photos are not news, and you may have noticed, Zaslow, that the mainstream news did not at the beginning cover any of this anywhere. So it became something that gathered all manner of fire in the place that it does these days, the internet, where anybody who exists is easy to dunk on, and when the entire internet is dunking on somebody, then everyone's talking about a story, and it's a story that's not in the mainstream press somehow, that no one is covering, until the participants start talking. Because once you have their voice attached to this, then it becomes news, and then it becomes fair game, okay? Everyone's been demanding that Vrabel come out and answer some questions. And so all he did yesterday was come out and just sort of sit there because we were demanding that he come out because of all of the hypocrisies here. Like, how is it possible that the standards are higher for the New York Times than they are for an NFL organization? How is it possible that somebody being good at his job over here is not answering any questions about this, and someone else over here is resigning from a career that they have built because of everything that's happening around here? Vrabel comes out yesterday, and he answers questions because we demanded it, but not really. He was out there with God knows what the PR crisis stuff was, what the crisis teams were telling him, how scary a moment this was for him because of whatever the shame there is in his private life. He goes from saying this was laughable, to now the man in front of us yesterday has lied about something that was laughable that is clearly kind of so now. What did you make of everything that happened yesterday, including him volunteering to us that he's going to emergency counseling this weekend that will make him miss 8 of the 11 picks that the Patriots have on the third day?
I just want to make sure that we separate the two issues. When he first met the media a couple days ago, that's when he moved from laughable to, I take this very seriously. My job as a leader, I take accountability. I had very difficult conversations, and that's what I'm going to say. That was already throwing Diana Rossini under the bus. It was horrific. He looked mealy-mouthed, and whatever advice he was given was poor, and his execution of the poor advice was spot on. But that was that. But then last night at 12:30 a.m., it came out like a Friday news dump of yesteryear that would make Cody proud. Like knowing the deadline of a newspaper and doing it post-deadline as an ode to days gone by. It came out and said, hey, I'm going to counseling because accountability starts with me, and I need to do this to be a better husband, a better father, a better coach. Hold on. You need to go on Saturday? I don't need to be a better coach or husband today because it's round 1 of the draft, but I can be a better husband starting Saturday. I'll miss round 3, day 3. He couldn't have started Monday? I just don't understand who advised him of the schedule.
Well,
I couldn't understand.
Well, let's go through this, okay? Let's go through the latest parts of this because I want to go through the entirety of the timeline and how, look, nobody wants to be at the center of these shamings publicly. And what has happened here puts Vrabel in a position where they waived Stephon Diggs because he was too much of a distraction. Stephon Diggs was their leading receiver. He had 85 catches. He had 1,000 yards. He's a serviceable number 1. Their receivers weren't very good, but now they have to trade draft picks for A.J. Brown because he was such a distraction. Vrabel had to go and explain that to his team, that he had done that to Stephon Diggs, and that's part of what he was saying were the difficult conversations of the weekend. But the news last night and the move last night when the Patriots are surrounded by crisis management advice at a time, David, that when I've seen this happen any time in the world, this is when people are at their weakest and they come and take bad advice from just people who are there to profit off of the misery. Like, you are at your weakest in having to address whatever it is that's happened here. You're very weakest. You're getting a lot of advice from a lot of people. Whatever the Patriots did yesterday, explain to me the maneuvering that has them at 12:30 at night saying our coach is going to miss the day that we have all the draft picks. It's supposed to be football first. It always is football first. And then on Saturday, he can't be seen in public because he knows that they're going to be talking about this on the televisions because they're not going to have other things to talk about.
But you missed something. He's going to be in contact with the Patriots. So it's not the type of help that he's getting where they take away your phone. It's not that. It's not like sex rehab or drug rehab where you go in and you're out of touch. This is counseling. Maybe it's immersive counseling. Maybe it's just day counseling. Maybe it's overnight. We don't know. But he'll be in touch with the team. The whole thing is so preposterous that I laughed. And it's not fun to laugh about this because I feel for Diana, who's just gotten railroaded by Vrabel, by him changing the story either with her permission or without. He obviously chose his family over her. We see that, and this because these are the exact steps that you do when you get caught and then you face it and then decide to go back or go forward. When you go back, you have to eliminate the distraction. But it just seems that the way he's disseminated the news has been clumsy.
How does this work, though, from a franchise to coach perspective, David? It doesn't seem like it was all Vrabel's idea alone. Is it like a drowning man pulls down whoever's near him, every man for himself sort of a thing?
We will make an executive talk the way we want them to talk in public. You cannot make a player. You can ask a player to say a certain thing, but you can't make a player. And if you think the player is not going to say what you want, you just don't make that player available to the media. When it comes to your manager, your coach, your GM, you can absolutely instruct them what to say. They work for you. And I really think that the Patriots did get involved here, and somehow, I mean, we're talking about Kraft and his, strip mall massage. I guess they've got a crisis PR firm that views lying and then doubling down on the lie as smart. But they can certainly make Vrabel do it. Now, could Vrabel then say, I won't say that, Trista? He can, but then he's risking being terminated for cause.
All right, so walk me through some of the humanity of this, David, because it's one thing to have the very public shaming of everyone is clucking and laughing at you, and then the very private one of whatever's happening in your personal life. But at the New York Times and The Athletic, there were a whole lot of journalists, peers, that were in an uprising over that, how those institutions handled the beginning of this. Giant institutions that are also interested in optics and the truth. And from everything that happened afterward, it is not unreasonable to assume anywhere in the resignation of Diana Russini that she just got out from under whatever the questions were going to be about this investigation. Vrabel has also got to feel at his weakest right now, and it's at least in part because he's surrounded by a bunch of peers closer than, it's not just the internet clucking. It's all the people you deal with every day. You went to from laughable, this is all laughable, to now you're a liar. Like you're somebody that we're seeing from everything that you're handling here. You're the coach of the Patriots and you're a liar. Him at his weakest, no matter what you think he is as a strong man, as a champion, okay? This has got to be so human at the core of it. He's doing whatever they tell him to. Like, he's just scared. I mean, what's the truth in the report of Robert Kraft trying to get these photos blocked for him? And what's the truth of who's the reporting on the Patriots were trying to block for the paid photographs?
So one thing that we do know, according to multiple sources, is that the Post had this story and the two central parties here knew about it because there was that news item that Diana Russini was approached at her home. And In Touch has reported with this extended timetable that the Patriots and Diana had, again, this is In Touch, so take it with a grain of salt, that Robert Kraft tried to kill this story. Now, you may ask how. According to this source that spoke to In Touch, he had a crisis strategist get involved, and those efforts, we all saw what happened.
Yeah, you can get involved and try to kill a story. That's a Tuesday when it comes to famous people in journalism. And when listen, Dan, if a story's going to come out about me or about the Marlins, I'm going to try to kill it. And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. And sometimes whatever it takes isn't enough. And in this case, the real question that I've been asking is what else is left? Because Vrabel continuing to double down on this change of position, he knows what could be out there. Hey, if there's a hidden camera at this place at this time, I was there and I may have been naked. I mean, whatever the case may be. And if you're the New York Post, you have no duty to disclose everything you have. You can keep calling the Patriots and Vrabel and saying, all right, I've got 2 more photos. I've got 4 more sightings. I've got 2 more witnesses. Now do you have a comment? So this could be going on. And if Vrabel, that's the concern if I'm the Patriots, is, this counseling is not going to stop the story if there's more, and there may be more.
Yeah, I mean, people could be digging into his past now. This is basically a green light to anybody to do that. I actually thought his statement was effective earlier this week in putting the story behind him. It was also effective in burying Diana and left her holding the bag a little bit. But then the news item came out yesterday of he's going to seek counseling, which allows you to be a little bit of a skeptic here and be like, well, all right, what's going on here? Is there more to this story? Are they worried that more stuff is going to come out? That would be the counseling. Or are they just trying to avoid the optics of him sitting around on day 3 of the draft, staring blankly into the abyss in a war room while they have to vamp because it's day 3 of the draft?
That seems, David, give me your best theory there on the Saturday emergency counseling, that day particularly.
You can't say that. That's an oxymoron. It's not emergency counseling in 3 days. Emergency counseling is when you drive yourself to rehab from 11. Like you've had the bender, right to rehab. Or you're caught in bed, hey, look at me, I'm naked. All right, I'm going to sex addiction counseling right now. That's emergency. When you make an appointment, hey, I'll be there like in 72 hours. I just don't view it that way. So my theory here is that the Patriots actually thought that this 12:30 a.m. announcement would be an end to it. Hey, look, all right, it's counseling. Of course he did it. He lied. He spoke to the team. It's all good. We need him for the first 2 days of the draft. It's so silly. But day 3, we'll let him go. To me, I would have announced nothing. Let the draft happen and then quietly go to counseling. And then, even if you go, when you're done, you can then meet the media again at training camp and say, yeah, I had off-season issues. I took care of them with professional help. My family, I'm trying to put it back together and put this behind me.
I just think he's really brave for being able to put aside the counseling days 1 and 2 of the draft and being able to wait till Saturday. It's admirable.
I also think that we should meet his statement with scrutiny because that statement didn't necessarily just read about this Diana situation. You could also parse through it and say he's trying to get out in front of other things, which then turns your attention back to Diana's side of the story, which is not convenient in a narrative if there is more to it.
David,
it's all so dirty.
It is. Is this the worst crisis counselor ever? Like, it feels like everything that they've been advised to do just makes it all the more worse.
Yeah, my entire show, well, 50% of my show is based on people who just get bad crisis PR advice and how funny it is to look back on when I had it and gave it and how people just actually convince themselves that the rest of us are just stupid. And because you go through in crisis PR, you rehearse it. You have written Q&A. You have a written statement. You know how long it will take to read. You literally practice. And that means that there are people who went through it and said, yeah, this sounds great, Mike.
But
this is perfect.
But David, if I can just stop you for a second, okay? Because this is a nightmare for the parties involved, everybody involved. This is a real public nightmare. There are kids involved, and everybody clucking about this at work and everywhere else. I understand how it is that anyone is going to criticize crisis management because it's weird in the middle of the night to throw us counseling. But let's check the timeline here for a second, because it does feel like they're warning us that more is coming, just the same way that Melania comes out and does that press conference on the Epsteins out of nowhere. She just comes on Epstein files, and everyone's like, well, what's she trying to get out ahead of? Here's the timeline. Vrabel gives that mealy-mouthed press conference that answers no questions. He's just in front of us for the flogging and then answers nothing. Like, you demand answers, accountability, you got none. Hours later, the New York Post reveals new photos. Now he announces he's going to counseling. What's going on with this photo leaker, this photo taker? What's happening here that might make for more here, that might make all the crisis management stuff that is happening here moot, because there's more here that everyone's fearing? And I don't get sitting out the third day of the draft. There has to be a strategy behind that.
It's possible that Murdoch told Kraft there's more. 100% that's possible. It's possible that the reporters said to Vrabel and his representatives, hey, just so you know there's more, we're not going to tell you what or tell you when. So trying to get out ahead of a story that you don't have control of is really hard when you've started it with a lie. The only play that Vrabel had was to meet the media and say, obviously, I was there, it was inappropriate. I was involved in a relationship outside of my marriage. I'm dealing with it privately. I don't know if it's going to work, if I'm going to stay married, if I'm going to stay the coach. I can only tell you that the gig is up, and I'm incredibly embarrassed and sorry. I'm not taking questions. I'm not going to talk about it further, but that's what happened. That's how you end a story.
I want to reiterate here, because I want to talk about the journalism of this for a second, David, because, okay, I'm compromised here. I'm just simply compromised. I do not want to make this any worse for someone else that I care about, who probably must feel that she is under a great deal of duress, and I haven't been able to connect with her in a way that I do not want to make this any worse for her by one syllable in any way, that for whatever it is that she's enduring right now. So I want to make that part clear, because I want to talk about the journalism of this, the paying for photos, what is and isn't news, the ability to kill stories and not kill stories. Bob Kraft made something go away there with moving the levers of law in a way that rich people do. What happened here? Like, what's happening here with long-range photos and intrigue? What's happening here that is making this the story that's eating up the internet?
Well, we have an incredibly salaciously built society. We love this stuff, which is funny to me because of the glass house syndrome. But for whatever reason, we think that extramarital affairs are really the most important soup you can ever have. I should say tea. And I've just never viewed it that way, because I've just been around it in sports and on Wall Street so much that to me it was never even a factor in hiring or firing or thinking about anything. It was just be smart. And if you're not smart, then you can't do your job. If you can't do your job, we have a problem. And for me, Diana Rossini, that's her job, is to give me inside information. And if she wants to get it however she gets it, I have no opinion. I don't know how she gets it, but I read it and I use it to help me do my job.
It can be seen, though, as from the outside, it can be seen as a gender story. Why is the woman getting punished here instead of the man? Why is it always worse for the woman than it is for the man? So if I were to reverse this, I make somehow the coach a woman, Dawn Staley, whatever Pat Summitt, whatever the equivalent is to Vrabel, and I make the reporter a man. Do people understand listening to this that the man would also have resigned a second ago? Because this is about the journalism and the ethics of the New York Times. And it's an ethical standard that no other insider has to live by, because ESPN doesn't do it this way on the journalism standards of what this is. This might not be a fireable offense at ESPN or some other remaining places. It's a fireable offense at the New York Times, because all of these standards are diminishing, and you cannot have a story where you pay for photos. You pay for photos, they're shopped around, and you pay for them. They're photos that were supposed to be reportedly of just Vrabel. They didn't even know that Rossini was in this story. They didn't know the woman involved, reportedly. I don't know what's true there. I'm having more and more trouble figuring out what's true everywhere. The paying for photos and turning it into the crisis that it presently is. Can you walk me through what you believe is happening there journalistically that makes the standard for the journalist higher than the standard for the football coach?
Well, you have to look at the source. The Athletic has a code of conduct, and you're right. The code of conduct is different at the Athletic than it is at Fox, let's say. And the reason why it's different is every company has its own thoughts. Chick-fil-A closes on Sunday, for crying out loud. So you have to look at where you work. Diana knew where she was working. She knew what her code of conduct was. There are some places, some people she competes with who can do a whole lot worse to get inside information, and they do it and no one cares. Is it about sex? Well, sex is sexy. If Adam Schefter were having an affair that got caught on photos with that clipboard holding owner of the Titans, whose name escapes me, I can't believe it, I'm old. Mike Ryan, what's the name of the woman who's on the sideline as the owner of the team?
The Colts.
Ursay. Yeah, I don't know her first name.
Ursay, the Colts. Thank you, Juju.
Eyebrows.
So imagine if Schefter were having an affair with her or some sort of photos of canoodling came out, Schefter would have a problem, which is why I have not leaned into the gender side of it. It just happens to be a woman journalist with a man coach, but I believe the other way, society would have treated it the same. And it's incredibly unfortunate the journalist who works for a place with rules, broke those rules, maybe, forced to resign, maybe, violated them, maybe, but if your competitors do something, gentlemen, I leave you with this, and Trista, please. There are baseball players who did not take steroids, who would come up to me and say, why am I not doing steroids? Everybody else is doing steroids, and you're paying them. You bastard, you're paying this guy because he takes steroids and I don't. Why don't I? And my answer always was, it's your decision.
Why did you tell Trista about the steroids? Why specifically?
No, I said gentlemen, and I didn't mean to.
Oh, okay.
The real question is, why'd you say, I'll leave you with this?
Because I wanted to say that people have a choice. And all you have to do is own up to your choices. And sometimes they're ugly and sometimes they're wrong. But when you lie about what you've done, it creates this ripple effect that lasts and lasts, and it can cost you your job. It can cost you your career. It can cost you whatever it is that you may think is too high a cost. And enough people just, I guess, don't think about that at the time.
I think, too, just really quickly, because we're running out of time, like the larger concept, too, is like, why are you in a position where you have to make that choice? And as a woman, is there a way to really compete with men? And I'm not putting up for anybody, but is there a way to truly compete with male newsbreakers given the dynamics of how it normally goes?
Is she the only female insider? Is that, I guess so, right? Like when you think of insiders, just the insiders, the information.
Kimberly Martin?
Yeah, that was Josina.
Yeah, Courtney Cronin's also an insider. Yeah, he's not the only one.
But I'm talking about the Woj type, the Shams type, the one that's so credible. I am talking about degrees of credibility. I'm talking about this. In the modern age where truth gets distorted, and we're talking about a story that seems to involve lying, right? That's part of the intrigue of it. Where she has gotten as a credible newsmaker, the top of the information chain. Mm-hmm. I think of her as the only woman who has climbed into the group of the Schefters and the Wojs. Do I have it wrong? Because my information may be bad. I might be following the wrong insiders because others are as big as she is.
You're right. You're 100% right. There's nobody operating at that level, at that scale. Kimberly Martin, but she also operates as an opinionist, not the same thing.
David, thank you. Appreciate the time, sir. Nothing Personal is the name of the podcast. Apologies on the tech issues on the start. That was quite the tantrum.
Get my number right.
Draft night is tonight. Hope, chaos, and one more chance for the Dolphins to finally get it right. We'll see. Draft Watch, presented by Bucked Up. Tonight, 7:45 Eastern on YouTube at Le Batard Show.
Well, I want to talk about some of the basketball from last night, and we will get to that in a second. The Suns are really mad about the officiating. They're doing something. This is very early in the playoffs for this. They're going to be fines involved with this, and they don't have a chance of any kind in this series. It's the only way for them to make it interesting is to do what they're doing with the officiating 2 games in. They have no chance. If the officials do not help them, they cannot win that series. There are not enough injuries that Oklahoma City can have that the Suns will win that series. But just getting back to the humanity of what it is that we are just talking about, just from what you guys imagine, I know they're all just stories and content, and they're not human beings. They're here for us to cluck about, and the internet likes to dunk on people. But would you not imagine, just hypothetically, that whatever it is that Mike Vrabel is feeling right now, this is the weakest Mike Vrabel has ever felt? You could just imagine it, right?
Yeah.
Like just all of how that feels. You've never seen a Mike Vrabel or thought of a Mike Vrabel as frail as this one is. Getting advice from every side, and has to go home at night.
Being forced to do things he definitely doesn't want to do.
I want you to now examine when you do this with these coaches about how they're tough and they lead and everything else. They're tougher than everyone else in one very small sphere. It's a very small place because this kind of stuff will make anybody crumble. There is not a tough enough, a leader enough, a strong enough to endure how this hits at home and how it hits it with your coworkers and how it hits with society's laughing at you after you told everybody kind of defiantly, and you got 20 years of Patriot Way behind you when you say it. So you're bringing all of this when you say laughable. You say in our face laughable, and now the world just crushes you. Like big tough champion Vrabel, like now, okay. Now we were already enjoying this because it's human nature to see everything fall apart in your life, champion guy. Like when I see that happen and I hear about how we talk about the coaches demanding the accountability of others, the guys who are actually physically hurting during the week, always demanding the accountability of others. This is your leader, Patriots Way. And you tried to kill the photos and Patriots Way. Like this is your face, and you're hiding him on day 3. You're hiding him from us on day 3 and sending out missives in the middle of the night about counseling.
I mean, this kind of is the Patriots Way, right? Like espionage,
counterintelligence.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. This is now to the nth degree of that. I think that if I was going to look at the lowest moral franchise in the NFL, I would be looking at the Patriots, regardless of the red, white, and blue of it all. Murder, yes.
It is interesting, though, because like we mentioned earlier, I thought his statement was effective in making it go away. It wasn't favorable at all to whatever Diana was going through, and that was really unfortunate for her, but it was super effective in like, all right, we're moving on. And then it got brought back. And it opens the door to what else is going on here. And that's where you ask questions like, is this bad PR or is this PR trying to get out in front of something?
Well, and on top of that, I was thinking about, okay, say that this occurred and it occurred for a long period of time, just hypothetically. That is a massive relational breach. You don't throw somebody under the bus if it's been something that you've developed over time.
When family's involved, you probably do.
A lot is made out of the ethical breach that this is for Diana. But if you're the New England Patriots, and if all this stuff is true, and Mike Vrabel has that type of relationship with reporter, that does raise concerns.
Well, but see, this is the place, though, that I've done it clumsily because all of this is uncomfortable for me. But in journalism, this is what the standard is on conflict of interests. There's not an argument that can be made around Vrabel right now that he wasn't engaged in a conflict of interest. But the standards here make it fireable investigation. And the standards here make, hey, coach, we'll try and hide it for you. Like, here, we'll hide you on draft day. We'll try and do this with you because you're our leader.
I do want to parse this because, look, the Miami Heat are a very secretive organization. And if they found a leak, there would be some kind of punitive measure if someone was actively leaking something. Now, I don't know. It's unfair to say.
That person would be fired. To trust that that person would not work in that organization if they had anybody. I've got 30 years of relationships in that building. They don't tell me things. Like, that's not how that works. Like, that organization is sealed tight there. Woj and Shams didn't have access to the things happening in that organization.
Especially when you add this era can monetize on all of that information. You can put it out and actually get money for those clicks that you snuck that information from. So it's sticky.
What do you make of the entirety, though, the talk of just conflict of interest? We cannot argue, right? Like, that it doesn't matter. Whenever these things happen, we say, well, what if the person was better at what they did, right? Stephon Diggs is let go. Well, would he have been let go if it had been 1,700 yards instead of 1,000 because he was a distraction? How good does Vrabel have to be for the standard to be, we'd be willing to let you go over a morals clause? You're our leader. You can't be our leader and have the cover-up be just as bad as the crime, because laughable is where this started. When the paid photos showed up at your doorstep. Paid photos. I keep saying that because that wasn't journalism once upon a time. Paid photos. And what's being brought to your doorstep is who did this? Who's doing this? At the very core of whatever the private mystery is, right? Who's hiring somebody to take these photos that are being brought to you and now wrecking lives, right? Like shaking lives.
Can confirm lives have been wrecked.
And Vrabel, tough leader guy, weakened in front of all of it, because now the full weight of whatever is our attention of the NFL on draft day, you've taken over the news stream as a distraction.
And this is the first time in the entire saga that we are focusing on Mike Vrabel now. Yes. Because Vrabel's it's incredible the juice nationally that Diana Rossini has. This caught me by surprise. Mike Vrabel was coaching in a Super Bowl in the totem pole of fame. Mike Vrabel is so much more famous than Diana Rossini, and yet it was Diana Rossini, not just with the magazine and the aggregate sites, but in social media. Vrabel was kind of skating.
Do we know if the report is true that the original photographs were supposed to be about Vrabel, and that as they were being shopped, it wasn't being pointed out that it was Diana?
I've actually heard both things, so it's hard to say.
I think there's rumors that both partners individually were the ones that hired these people.
But that's not believable.
Not that they both did it, but I've heard on both sides that they've hired.
That's not believable, though. Like, what spouse would want their family very publicly blown up?
So I don't know whether there's vengeance here or not, and the gossipy portions of this make me really uncomfortable. And I will keep asking you guys how you feel about paid photos to ruin lives, because they were being shopped and nobody was taking them. And what is a lesson journalism standard at the New York Post gets someone gone at the New York Times. That's what happened there. This is, when you talk about hit jobs in the media and canceling people, what happened there is paid photos are being shopped around. And in my lifetime, the only ones who take that sort of stuff in this country are TMZ. Has the standard on what you pay for news. TMZ will pay for your videos, and I don't know how long the New York Post and Murdoch have been doing that, but shopped photos for sale to harm someone are not something that were purchased by credible news organizations. That's not supposed to be journalism.
We started this with, I'm going to get into the NBA.
I do want to say, though, that's clearly like a barbarians at the gate scenario. New York Post going after New York Times. But I just wanted to circle back on what you said about conflict of interest. Conflict of interest in journalism exists everywhere. It just is a matter of degree, and it's obviously a larger degree here. But we've seen this with insiders. Anyone that you know and you like and are friendly with, or even these players who have podcasts, they have an axe to grind as well. Bias exists. I think the fact that people try to put on blinders and say that it doesn't and we have no conflict of interest, it's bullshit.
I understood that objectivity is an illusion, but it's what's being aspired to by the standard of the highest of journalism. Yes, it's a lie. Of course, objectivity is a lie, but that's the goal. That's why there's a conduct code at one place, and football doesn't have one of these. I will get to the basketball, and I will just preface all the wrong things we're about to say with the gas bag of the week. This is, I want you to imagine driving around in your car at 7 years ago. You're driving around and you are listening to the top of sports radio. This is that sports radio 7 years ago.
I saw Michael Jordan play at 40 years old. LeBron is 34 years old. He will never be as good as Michael Jordan was at 40. LeBron James at 40 will not be in an NBA game 6 years from now, and we're all going, wow, LeBron against Milwaukee. He's easily the best player on the floor. But I'll tell you one thing, LeBron will never be as good as Jordan at 40.
Gas bag of the week.
Man, not even close to his worst LeBron take. LeBron, we're good here.
Is that the Ben Simmons take?
Oh, yeah. You knew right away when I put up my hand. We're good here.
That Ben Simmons, that was the end of LeBron. Ben Simmons has returned to take over the league.
Ben Simmons is literally a pro fisherman.
Last night, that's not an interesting series, okay? The only way it gets made interesting is by the personality of the Phoenix Suns. Dylan Brooks is willing to be a villain, and I love that what he thinks is going to shake OKC is just him Draymond Greening it. He was great offensively, I thought. I mean, one turnover, handling the ball like that against that defense. He's fearless. Like, I love – well, he's not just a good player. He invites – there is some sound I want to play for you here, and I didn't think, actually, for all the refereeing talk and all the flopping talk and everything else, I thought there was something in the middle of it that everyone's skipping over that was the most interesting part of what he said. So try to ignore that his tie is tied as crookedly as you've ever seen a tie tied, and try to ignore that jacket doesn't fit quite as well as it should. This is an excellent villain, and he just hammers SGA.
No, what is it like having to guard somebody like that, and how do you, I guess you could say, have to defend better without fouling?
A little frail. That's what the refs are going to call. You got to be smarter about it, but, this is playoffs, a man's game.
So not just man's game, but he said frauding and flipping and flailing, and he also said, one other thing that he said there is, I've got to check the film. I black out. I don't know what happened out there. I believe him. The way that he plays, I believe, while LeBron can remember everything he did 4 years ago in a game, I believe Dylan Brooks is the opposite. He goes to an emotional state where he blacks out. You believe that?
I black out here.
And to what he was saying, bruh, the Thunder are so talented that seeing them flop and flail, it's just embarrassing. It's hard to watch, man. Like, it's good. They are the champion. We know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he is fire, but he's flailing and trying to get the call.
Well, who do you blame in that? Like, do the Thunder make you mad there, or do the referees make you mad there?
Because
the referees make me mad.
In the playoffs, there is an understanding that you don't call it like the regular season. And while they still might be able to get away with some of this, not to the same degree. You let them play a little bit more.
The thing with the Thunder, too, is like Shai draws these fouls in a bit of a different way from the rest of the team. Like his ability to keep balance low to the floor and draw some of these fouls, yeah, there's a flop every once in a while, but you see that from any star. But when the rest of the team around him is flailing all over the place, it puts a spotlight on his ability to get to the line and changes his individual reputation as a great player in a way that's frustrating to me as someone who actually enjoys watching the artistry of drawing fouls. That's not so different from what Dwayne Wade did down here.
You enjoy the artistry of drawing
in a real
fouls?
Way? Not, yes.
2006 forever.
Yeah, in a real way. Not when it's James Harden hooking somebody else's arm, but what Shai does in terms of his balance and getting into the lane is legitimately athletically impressive. And so being able to do that is going to be viewed totally differently if the Thunder themselves as a team aren't flailing all over the place.
Right. Yeah, I find the Thunder to be a really tough watch. They're a tough watch because of the style of play, and it's the officials that make me angry in that spot, not the team.
Yeah, but to Jeremy's point, it is kind of more poetic to watch SGA do it. When Lou Dort gets in on the fun, nah, bro. Come on, referee.
All right, put it on the poll, please. Do you enjoy the artistry of drawing fouls?
It's a no for me, dog. I think Shai pushing off with that offhand with his forearm and extending. That's the disgusting thing that we don't like to watch.
I hate it with Harden. I hate it with Tatum. Yeah. I hate it with SGA.
Yeah.
So
Not with Dwayne Wade, though. He was great.
You guys are headed toward hating the finals of OKC against Boston, because if Boston goes 10 for 50 from 3 and then it's then it's just free throws on the other side, you guys are going to complain about everything happening there. But let's check in with Devin Booker here, because this is very early in the playoffs for this, okay? Trista and Juju are going to pop up after games when they get more serious here on our YouTube and with Alley Oop. So I want, after games, people to check in with what it is they'll be doing here in a couple of games. But this is awfully early in the playoffs for Devin Booker, two games in, really, to this, to be saying this.
I heard Caruso tell him to call the tech, and, he ended up doing it. So that's one ref. In my 11 years, I haven't called a ref out by name, but James was terrible tonight, through and through. It's bad for the sport, bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as a WWE, if they're not held responsible.
That's going to be a monster fine. That can't just be criticizing the official.
Did you see the play that he's talking about?
But making it that
I'm
clear.
just picturing the PR person right there.
Think about it. Was ridiculous. Okay, but by name? All right, so what's the fine? What is the fine going to be for that? Is that just
maximum fine? I think maximum fine's for something like that, it's like $50,000, right? I think, did you see it was ridiculous, the play, okay? It was ridiculous. He gets shoved out of bounds. He's totally off balance because he gets shoved out of bounds. They make the call. They call the blocking foul. And as he's falling out of bounds, he flips the ball behind him because he then clearly wants to use both of his hands to brace the fall on the fans that he's about to make. But when he flips the ball backwards, it hits Jalen Williams in the waist. Okay, whatever. Caruso then goes up to the referee and says, give him a technical. That's a technical. Dan, it was 5 seconds later, you could then hear the referee's whistle blow, and he calls the technical. That's bullshit. That guy looks bad.
Right, bro. First of all, Alex Caruso, you snitching ass joker.
You know what happens to snitches, right?
Exactly.
They get hurt. I know.
Stitches.
You dig? And I think that's what makes it an embarrassing post game. Like you say, he gonna get a maximum fine, but he's actually right in what he's saying. That was a ridiculous call. So we gotta hold these refs a little bit more accountable, man.
James was terrible tonight, through and through.
That's what I'm saying. That, I don't hear that ever. I don't hear that ever where it's just quite that personal. You guys are talking around it, and I'm like, no, the thing that's right in the middle here is 2 games into the playoffs, you got one of your superstars just making this assessment very personally of one man.
James was terrible tonight, through and through.
You have
through and through.
You have to do that if you're Phoenix. So that's your opportunity to get back in this, is that you make the referees think. And that public pressure, it does work. It's why people do it. They're humans.
It was so soft, too. It's not like he chucked the ball at the guy. He flipped it behind him so that he doesn't just fall straight up on a fan. I'm telling you, I like what he did there. I think the referees.
Wait a minute. Just let me be clear. Let me just be clear, because if you would sign up for Adam Silver, just hey, let's let this fly. Let's let guys talk after games that the way they want to. You can't have this every night, Zaz.
James was terrible tonight, through and through.
I'll tell you what I want. I want the referees. I know they have numbers on their back, which are really tiny, by the way. I think their names should be on their back, just like the players. I think the referees' names, and not even their last name, their first name. So when Devin Booker there says James was terrible through and through all night long, I think the back of his jersey should just say James.
First name or last name?
No, first name. That's what I just said.
First
Are you listening?
name. No. I get that here, but
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for not listening to the show.
He just said that to you.
Look, he can have
You
that
were
opinion.
so eager to get to your point. Look, go away and come back for pitch clock. Pitch clock is later. You can come back. Let's segregate not just baseball, but also Jeremy. Let's just segregate.
It's fun. I'll head home early.
Pitch clock
too soon.
Later in the show. If you want to hear all Jeremy's thoughts on all Jeremy's things, and he won't listen to anybody there either, you can do so on pitch clock in a little while. He just said that to you, and you're just so eager to say what you want to say that you don't listen to anything that he said before that. It'll come up in arbitration.
I think Zaz should be awarded the Best Take of the Year so far award because, yes, hold these brothers accountable. Bro, what the hell was that? Bob Wisnowski? Like, no.
No, it just says Bob. That's it. Like in this case, the guy James. Like the crowd's like, James, what are you doing out there?
Now instead of ref, you suck, it'll be Bob, you suck.
Yeah.
What do you think, Zaz, about a tabulation like we have on NBA.com by ref in terms of, like, instead of field goal percentage, stats on refereeing?
Hey, I mean, the more info, the better.
You say that, but I worry about the safety of referees in the age.
What's Bob's war?
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, that sounds nice right up until one of these old guys, is walking through an airport and he costs somebody a bunch of money. And you guys are making a great game of it. It is a great game right up until somebody gets shivved in an airport.
I mean, we do know a lot of the names, and we're not shivving them.
Yeah,
like
well,
Scott Foster survived this
no,
long.
No, but if we allow the players to say whatever they want, if we turn this into hunting and sport, we're going to have a lot of fun with the referees in airports trying to get on to the next flight.
Is that really Ben Simmons?
Yeah.
He's doing that. He's doing that now.
Let's go fish.
Put it on the poll, please, as well. Caruso, snitching-ass joker at Le Batard Show.
Through and through.
Yes. It really is. It is exceptional. 2 games in for the star of the team that has no chance to say, yeah, James, don't pay attention to us being terrible. James was terrible, and it's not like partially terrible. James was terrible through and through. That doesn't happen very often. It really doesn't.
Picturing James's family like watching the press guy like, what?
Juju, Trista, you are our basketball experts. I know he got his money's worth on the fine because I just haven't heard a whole lot of guys say individually, forevermore, that guy sucks. All my future games, that guy sucks. That guy was terrible tonight. That kind of assessment I don't think goes over well.
Do you remember the Fred Van Fleet? Ben Taylor was fucking terrible.
Yeah. Yes.
Through and through.
Through and through. Also, during that game, they called Devin Booker offensive foul for unnatural shooting motion.
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
was ridiculous. And then Chet Holmgren went down.
They reviewed
and
it, too.
did this motion and got the foul. So it's like, through and through, bro.
You know what's bullshit when we're on the referee topic? In the NHL, if you're caught diving, embellishing something, the dude that hit you and drew the initial penalty, even though it was wrong after they go to review, he still serves a penalty.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't like this.
Why? It could be both. You committed a penalty and the other guy embellished.
I don't like it because if the guy embellished, you're admitting that it probably shouldn't have been a penalty because his embellishment helped draw the. You don't. Did you see the Sidney Crosby thing that happened?
Yep.
You think that was a penalty?
I think guys get hit in the face all the time with a high stick.
Zigak.
They don't then fly and flop on the ground.
Right. Which is why Sidney Crosby was lying about it, which is why later on they went to replay, and he ended up serving a penalty too.
But it's
that
still
was my
a penalty.
Issue.
It's still a penalty.
No. You go back in time.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You get to go back in time. And
You
we
don't know
covered this in the
what-
Carolina-Ottawa game
You're
too.
embarrassing yourself.
Like there was an offside, which means that the goal comes off the board, but the penalty that happened off the offside that should have rendered the entire play useless, the penalty still gets to stay? What?
I really think the NBA should adopt the embellishment rule. And look, it's a judgment call. Of course, it's subjective, but that's the referee's job is to make judgment calls.
Go back in time. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you only because I've gotten distracted by a topic of the last few days as it regards sci-fi movies, going back in time, whether time travel is the sci-fi
Transition.
genre.
Hate it or topic.
It's not just that I hate it, though, merely. It's also that I wanted to go back in time and play Colin Cowherd again from 7 years ago.
But you like the
I saw
referee's
Michael
names,
Jordan play at 40 years old. LeBron is 34 years old. He will never be as good as Michael Jordan was at 40. LeBron James at 40 will not be in an NBA game 6 years from now, and we're all going, wow, LeBron against Milwaukee. He's easily the best player on the floor. But I'll tell you one thing, LeBron will never be as good as Jordan at 40.
In all the years doing this, I don't think I've ever had someone care so little for what I had to say on anything than what just happened right now.
Just to relive a sound we already played.
Noted. Panthers are out. No more hockey. You got it.
Oh, no. If you wanted to talk about Connor McDavid, we could do that.
Whew, I don't want to talk anymore, period. That was crazy.
It's not my fault that you don't understand the rules.
I mean, it's your fault that we collaborated on a segment that was so bad that in the middle of it, Dan just trampled us and played a Colin Cowherd sound that we played like 5 minutes earlier.
Well,
that was so dismissive.
Funny as you're saying that, I'd like to go back if I could to
something we talked about 7 years ago.
Did you mention a Wayback Machine? We played a sound a few minutes ago.
I'm bad at this. I'm shook.
But it is weird. McDavid, no points in the series so far.
Can't talk about it. Hockey off the board.
Well, I mean, I have given off the impression that I don't watch hockey.
Yeah, the Panthers aren't in it. Why would you watch playoffs?
That joke is smacking in our hockey group chat. Anytime something good happens, it's like, too bad Zaz isn't watching.
Wish you caught it.
Time machine travel is something that you identified as being, or time travel as you
Doesn't
didn't
have to be a machine.
You identified it as its own genre.
Oh yeah.
It is not its own genre. That is the sci-fi genre. It fits under the umbrella of the sci-fi genre. Trista is here to nominate something else. Are you thinking that it's bigger than the shark genre?
It's definitely bigger than the shark genre. It's the natural disaster genre that does not include man-made fires.
Natural disaster genre.
Twister.
Wait, aren't all these natural disasters, if you were to ask Adam McKay, man-made?
See, that's way too scientific for me. I'm talking about just like somebody at the park, smoking a doobie, and then it turned into a forest fire.
I think they're just action movies. Like that's part of action genre.
Definitely not. Because here's the thing, I know it's a genre because I say I don't watch natural disaster movies.
Really?
I will not watch them.
You don't watch San Andreas with
No.
The Rock?
And if The Rock is in it, I'm definitely not watching.
Wow.
Dan, did you hear my impromptu genres yesterday list on the post-game show? I know you was listening.
Let's play the Cowherd sound again.
I saw Michael Jordan play at 40 years old. LeBron is 34 years old. He will never be as good as Michael Jordan was at 40. LeBron James at 40 will not be in an NBA game 6 years from now, and we're all going, wow, LeBron against Milwaukee. He's easily the best player on the floor. But I'll tell you one thing, LeBron will never be as good as Jordan at 40.
You guys see what's going on in the UFL? 4 quarterback
Play
starters
Cowherd from 7 years ago.
I saw Michael Jordan play at 40 years old. LeBron is 34 years old. He will never be as good as Michael Jordan was at 40. LeBron James at 40 will not be in an NBA game 6 years from now, and we're all going, wow, LeBron against Milwaukee. He's easily the best player on the floor. But I'll tell you one thing, LeBron will never be as good as Jordan at 40.
Get me some of the quotes there, please, of Adam Silver defending Portland's cheap owner, because Zaslow has called Adam Silver a nothing.
Nothing.
He's called him a nothing, and Adam Silver works for the owners, and Tom Dundon right now, the details that are coming out about how cheap their franchise has been during the playoffs would offend anyone who cares about Portland basketball during a lovely story. That the ownership, you don't see this very often, where an ownership change is so cheap immediately that the fan base during a playoff run is sort of reading details about what's he doing to our players. And so Adam Silver says, these are quotes, we do not have the sound, the idea that this guy paid one of the highest prices for a professional sports team in history is being called cheap makes absolutely no sense to me.
Is he serious? Like, you read that quote now. Now, he was interviewed. He did a spot on Barstool yesterday, okay? Like, so these are real quotes. But if I didn't give you that context and you saw that quote, you would wonder if that's real, right?
Well, I'm now wondering whether every single thing that I read anywhere is real. Like, I can't read anything and verify it anymore. I'm getting left hopelessly behind.
How come Pardon My Take can get Adam Silver and you can't get Adam Silver?
It may be 10 years of making fun of how he looks.
Adam Silver looks like.
Yeah, that might be part
Also,
of it.
also what Lebo said to him at that one dinner.
Oh, it's a good story. Do you know this story?
No.
Oh, it's a great story. It's a great story. He's walking into he's walking into dinner with a very small group of us, and it's loud. It's a loud place, and my brother's sitting next to him, and my brother's wildly inappropriate. My brother doesn't know who he is and doesn't care who he is and doesn't know anything about sports. And so I can't hear what they're talking about, but from across the table, my brother just shouts at him, What? A guy can't make a few dick jokes?
Play calling, coward.
I saw Michael Jordan play at 40 years old. LeBron is 34 years old. He will never be as good as Michael Jordan was at 40. LeBron James at 40 will not be in an NBA game 6 years from now, and we're all going, wow, LeBron against Milwaukee. He's easily the best player on the floor. But I'll tell you one thing, LeBron will never be as good as Jordan at 40.
4 starting quarterbacks in 1 week. That's half the UFL. Half the UFL starting quarterbacks have been traded in the last 2 days.
You have me longing for Jeremy. I want to get his observations from yesterday's show, but I don't want them in here. I want them from wherever he is, segregated, put apart. Pitch clock will be later in the next hour, and Jeremy will be, I'm assuming, a part of the festivities tonight as we do.
He will not.
Draft coverage. Oh, he's not going to be with us? Okay.
Greg Cody will be here, though.
Okay. Zagactos. Are we going to have a counter, or are we going to have a super Zagacto counter? It's important that it's important that he beat Mel Kiper Jr. at Super Zagactos, correct? That's the most
Exacto. See, I'm throwing Super Zagactos away. I don't think my dad knows his own game. It's Exactos, and then there's Zagactos.
Does your dad does he have a okay, so Kiper made a late push last year and beat him, right? Was there any kind of streak he had before that to beating Kiper?
I got to look back at the exact details of their recent years.
But will there be some years that he beats him?
Yes, I believe last year. Either last year or the year before.
No, last year he said Kiper made a late push.
So
and
the year before he beat Kiper.
Okay.
It's very important. And we're going to have a counter tonight, and everybody here other than Jeremy is going to be involved. He's mopey. You see, he's walking around, and he wanted to be at the microphone to give the observations, but I told him I want them from outside. I want them from outside our purview, whatever observations he has on yesterday's show. And are you guys feeling bad for him?
I feel like you kind of bully him.
Kinda?
I think he's like the
it's not
the
kinda.
whipping post.
It's absolutely.
He needs to get in line though in the
too eager, too thirsty.
Yeah. He did walk in here, and all of us were like, Dan was pretty clear. and then he's like, no, I do it in here. That's what he said off mic. Dan, he said it with his chest. No, I'm either doing it here, or I'm not doing it at all. And then Dan just gave him one arm wave, and he's like,
skulked away.
Now I feel bad. All right, Jeremy, you can do it in here, but do it in here with that microphone.
This is absurdly technically difficult.
This is stupid. What do you want?
Play the cowherd sound again.
I saw Michael Jordan play at 40 years old. LeBron is 34 years old. He will never be as good as Michael Jordan was at 40. LeBron James at 40 will not be in an NBA game 6 years from now, and we're all going, wow, LeBron against Milwaukee. He's easily the best player on the floor. But I'll tell you one thing, LeBron will never be as good as Jordan at 40.
What criticisms do you have of yesterday's show?
Like Greg Cody, I also have an Uncle Bud.
Okay, these are just observations from
I can't believe you guys
show.
talked Kyle Stowers without me. You know, when Chris said that Mockingbird reminds him of...
Working the Room?
Yeah, you know, when Chris said that Mockingbird reminds him of Dumb and Dumber, for me, I think of the classic cover by James Taylor and Carly Simon.
You know, she saved his life.
You know, two different white Americas.
Yeah. James Taylor?
Am I right, Gigi?
Did you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
this about James Taylor? Crazy into drugs.
James Taylor, yeah.
Yeah.
The
The music does not reflect
career
that.
started with the Beatles over at Abbey Road. Pretty special stuff. 3 different people in here said, in the year of our Lord 2026. And I just thought that was kind of cool.
Our camera operator hates you right now.
You know, the changing of the name to the Cleveland Guardians doesn't really do much if every single time people talk about the team in the past, they say the then Cleveland, you know. Learned a little bit about that Tony FIU story. Not going to talk about it here, but interesting stuff. You know, I really liked that Ronan Farrow refers to them as attorneys general, similar to ours BI.
We
Just
talked
proper
about
grammar.
that.
It's pretty cool.
We talked about that back here. I was confused by that.
Smart guy. Zaslow, why'd you take out baseball as a movie genre? What the hell, man?
Why do you sound so breathy?
Stand
I'm
up.
walking. I'm doing the room. You know? Dan, I don't really know how people would check and find where the money is that's going toward AI with their political candidate because they're just going to use AI to try to find it. Isn't that confounding?
You are breathy.
And finally, what the hell is up with Dr. Fred Johnson? Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I'll be back next week.
Good set. Good set.
Don't threaten us. He's going to be back in a few segments because Pitch Clock is a roaring success.
I thought you meant Dr. Johnson.
Yeah, I was going to be like, wow. That's a Tosh Webb redemption real soon.
The Numby spoke, and we brought him back.
It would be funny. You can't dispute it would be funny.
Yeah, you'd get an answer to what is your lowest professional moment right away. South Beach Sessions?
It's been years since we had anyone on to talk about the draft. Like years since we've had a guest, even more years since we had a guest that we're introducing to our audience. Hey, this is a draft guy. He knows his stuff.
GM Whisperer.
That's what we did yesterday.
Roaring success.
Tonight's draft party promises more live danger. It's going to be, everything that we're doing is going to be live. As you've seen recently, I make more mistakes than I ever have, and so that's dangerous. So we get dangerous the accidental way. At any point, I can embarrass myself.
Let's mix in tequila. That usually helps.
Or more than one. We'll see where tonight ends up. We will walk the line on possibly getting fired tonight. How long are we doing this? Are we doing this until the Dolphins pick? Are we doing the whole first round? What are we doing?
This has
extravaganza?
been something that we've talked about in some of these the meetings and as we prepare for this, and yet we don't have an answer to it. It's kind of we'll feel it out.
I think that we've landed on somewhere. We're going to watch the Dolphins' first pick, and we're not going to finish the first round. So somewhere in there, we're going to stop.
So maybe after the Dolphins' second pick.
That's the 30th pick. That's
asking
a lot.
See, that's all night.
That's all night.
There's a danger of them trading out of the first round. It's like, what are we doing
They only
here?
have 8 minutes now to make these picks.
I'll make a prediction. I think we get to the mid-20s.
8 minutes is a good pivot. Was there anything more annoying than you have several months to make this pick? Here are another 15 minutes.